Hello friends and welcome. Today we're going to talk about winning the lane but losing the game. This is something I hear from you guys a lot, and oftentimes when I then go into the replay, there's a couple things that tend to happen that lead to this. So today we're going to watch Ogre Magi, Archon 5 about, Drow Ranger, Legend 3. They play together, they're a duo. Even if you play solo queue, this is fine. You should know what the carry wants. Carry players, you should know what the support needs to do, how to identify what you need to do. So I think it'll be useful for any of you watching this, especially people who tend to play in the safe lane. But we're going to see what exactly is the problem. But if I had to guess, typically the two most common that I see is from winning the lane, they don't properly explode from there. Because winning the lane is like, okay, I have all this net worth at the start, high levels. That should mean I farm really fast. I should be able to take objectives faster, right? There's this strengthening period where you are faster than the enemies because you had a good start. And a lot of people flub that step and they just don't do anything with it. The other is that you just aren't actually winning the lane. So in these replays, first, we're going to go through the laning stage kind of quickly, see if we are actually winning the lanes. And then we're going to see that early game period where it really depends on the exact draft. But typically, the carry is going to need some time to grow on their own. They need to take that strong start, high levels, high net worth, and accelerate faster than the enemies. That usually means time farming alone, but periodically joining, as is tactically smart. That's the hardest part about playing carry, but it is, what needs to happen. And supports, making space for the carry to do so. That is like step 2 of winning the lane, winning the game. And then there's like mid-late game stuff, but that's not going to be the focus of this replay analysis. So for now, you're blocking stuff. You should actually buy another sentry because it looks like there's going to be a bounty potentially in your lane. I know the draft looks, a little funny, so maybe you're not sure. Be ready to buy another sentry because if there's a bounty in this lane, bounty centaur, they're just going to run at the drow, and you need to see the bounty because that's how it's going to start. Bounty's going to stun invis, centaur's going to follow up, a lot of nuke damage, drow, kind of squishy at the start. So you need a sentry to see the centaur, or see the bounty coming in, and you, as Ogre Magi, you just need to be a body in the lane to make sure they can't get through you to get to the drow, or if they are going past you to get to the drow, you are getting them pretty low, so that drow might be able to turn once she gets back to the tower, you stun, right? Maybe you get a kill in return because you've been bopping them while they try to get past you. So we can only do that if we have another sentry, otherwise he's always going to just slip past you and have the advantage there. So you're going to need more sentries. Drow... Why are we here? Okay, so it looks like Axe scouted out this observer, but because you guys were a little slow on it, they had time to wrap around. This won't always happen, so I'm not going to worry that much about it. It is kind of good to go for these D wards, but typically you want to be faster about it. He was waiting for Drow to show up because Medusa was going to deny it. But remember, you're standing in an enemy observer, so they literally have time to come and fight you if they want to do that. So just be careful of that stuff. If you are going to go for a D ward as a team, you typically want to go a little bit faster. Fortunately, Drow didn't die. She's going to walk home, and then you probably have to teleport. Here's my rule of thumb. If you get hurt at the beginning of the game and you can make it to the fountain and make it to about here by the time the creeps spawn, then you can walk. Because if you're here, you could choose to body block 3 of the creeps, not all 4, 3 of the creeps and be in the lane, or you can just walk next to the creeps. You'll make it to the lane at the same time they start, so you at least have that going for you. This is more for the carries typically, but supports, if this happens to you, then that's fine. But supports, especially with sentries, often need to do something here, like in between the creep spawn and the creeps actually meeting. So you might still want to TP even if you can get back. Let's see if Drow ends up late to the lane because of this. See centaurs here. Because you took learning curve on Ogre, which is fine, maybe you guys want to be more careful at the bounty runes. Again, that's kind of like a special situation. Let's not worry about it too much. So Drow is walking. That means you're going to be late to lane. You're probably going to miss a creep or 2. If we're focused on winning the lanes, you guys want to be here as fast as you can. Be very careful about blocking this creep wave if Centaur is not doing the same, which he is. You kind of lucked out there. So here, I don't know if this is intentional or by accident, you let 1 creep through. You should do that right away if you're going to block. Block 3 creeps, let 1 through, because... So for this laning stage, earlier identified Centaur Bounty, very tanky, which actually, fortunately, you and Axe, I don't know what Axe mid was doing, but he helped you bully Centaur. That's going to help you in the laning stage. But typically, he would be full health, Bounty would be full health, and they'd be very tanky. You don't want to push up to here because that's how they have an easier time wrapping around to get to Drow, and then she has to run all the way back, and there's like slows, stuns, she dies. So the more we can keep the lane right here at the safe equilibrium, very good. That's generally true. but oftentimes you will play with carries or you will have the stronger matchup, and then it doesn't matter as much. You can push up. So it's important to identify how important it is to be here, and in this game, I would say it is relatively important. So you want to be very careful about this. If you block the creeps, like all of them, and he doesn't, the first wave will go under the tower. Because Drow's late to lane, she's now going to miss like 2 creeps, and this is going to push out into the worst spot possible. And then you're going to be like, oh, I have to go unblock camps. Drow's going to be up here. She's going to die. So you kind of get lucky that he's blocking. You didn't know. And okay, now you just creep aggro in. You don't need to do this. If you do draw it to the side out of the tower, this is going to shove, and you block this camp, so you can't even do like a hard pull later. So first wave already, I don't want to be too harsh because this is Archon Legend, but you did mention, you know, eventual goal, getting to Divine. You know, it's a work in progress. That's fine. But okay, actually, you will see Divine players do this. You'll see Immortal players do this, and it kills me inside. But like, you'll see it very rarely. It really shouldn't happen. So cut that out of your gameplay immediately. Your lanes are going to go a lot better. You might still win this lane just because it is Archon Legend. People won't always punish you properly for pushing out, right? So it's not the end of the world. We don't GG, rage quit, carry, like get out of my lane, support useless, right? We keep playing on because this kind of stuff happens. So kill the sentry before, nice, nice. Oh, let's pop up last hits. Let's see how we're doing, because this is important to make sure we're actually winning the lane, getting the last hits, and then checking the net worth on the graphs later. All right, so far kind of okay. Notice your positioning though. You know how Drow is in front of you, the 582 health Drow and the 742 health Ogre who's got 6 armor? Okay, she has 5 armor. It's actually kind of a lot too. But they're mainly going to damage you through like spells. Well, mixed, whatever. So you kind of want to be in front of Drow. I think you're waiting for your level 2 power spike, but you should still be in front, bopping them a little bit. Also, Sage's Mask is going to take too long. This is like long term, but you need to get through this like early stage where they're going to hit level 2, level 3. He's going to have like a ton of nuke damage, right? 180 plus 70 stomp and then the stun. This guy has like 100 magic damage nuke, like 70 bonus damage on the like invis attack. Like their level 3 is going to be very scary, and Drow at that point is going to have like 650 health, right? Like one cycle of spells and she's almost dead. So kind of need more upfront power, especially with Learning Curve. Learning Curve is like, I'm really strong at level 2 compared to them, which means we need a bunch of mangoes to make sure we go through our spells. Like you use this once, this combo, and then we're already like half mana. So you get that combo twice, and then it's like, looks like we're gonna kill Centaur, right? Perfect. Level 3 power spike, fantastic. Or level 2 power spike, because it's our level 3 power spike with Learning Curve, we want to capitalize on this. Sage's Mask is like, in 5 minutes, I'm going to have mana to use these spells again. At that point, you're all like level 4, level 5. The difference is not as important. The biggest is like this level 2 power spike right here. So you want mangoes. I like that you have the magic stick and the blood grenade, right? That's good. Okay, see how this chase. So this is something you guys need to work on. This chase. Fortunately, it didn't cost too much, but you guys are chasing a bounty hunter kill. It's not first blood anymore, so it's probably about 200 gold. Here is 150 gold right here guaranteed. So the more you chase for kills, and this happens a lot in cases where people say like, oh, we won the lane, we have tons of kills, and then I look at it and the tons of kills come at the cost of last hits, which currently we're at 5, and we'll notice Centaur and us, like we're at the bottom of the core's last hitting. So kills are good, but there is a limit. And if you check earlier, like this guy's got boots, he's really fast. If we don't apply the slows and the stuns, right, we shouldn't bother chasing him. We should get back here. Look at this. This creep can be denied. This creep can be denied. There's last hits to get. Ogre, you can use this time because Centaur's dead. If you need to unblock this camp, or if there's a pull available, you could be like helping to deny and then come over here to pull at like 217. You don't want to like chase too long and then be out of position for this. Now your creep equilibrium is kind of wacky, so we missed one there. Looks like we got here just kind of in time. I'm not going to worry about missing the actual last hits if you're like there to go for them, because that's just a work in progress. But of course, the more last hits you can get, the better. These denies are good, but we see our lane equilibrium is up here, which I was saying, okay, we got to be careful for the Drow. But you know what? You are strong with this power spike on Learning Curve, but it takes, like, you got to run him down. And now you're going to try to kill this 1100 health Centaur under his own tower. Probably not going to really happen, is that? No, maybe we're going to get bounty, though, because he walked right up. Ooh, free bounty kill. Okay, nice, nice. 3 minutes coming up here, so the Lotuses would be good. You could also just shove this lane in. See, like, Ogre's, like, fighting you for last hits, and you guys aren't, like, bop him. He can't fight you. There's 2 of you and 5 creeps, so just both of you commit to him. Ogre, you could potentially come to a pull, or maybe unblock this camp. You just want to make sure you get to Lotus. You also want to make sure Drow doesn't die. Depending on the matchups, maybe you do stay up here. But another way to get Creep Eagle Room back, besides pull, is to shove the lane into the tower, so the tower kills these extra creeps, and then it pushes back here. So a little bit up to you guys to figure out what is the best thing to do in a given situation. But oftentimes, 2 people standing here while the offlaner stands here unpunished, that is definitely incorrect. So if you are standing there, just try to, like, bop him a little bit more. We see you're kind of low on mana, right? You're going to have to use the Lotus before you can do this combo again. Drow's low, right? Maybe you give her the Lotus, but then, like, what about you? So you're kind of forcing yourself into having to use the Lotus because of what you bought. See how long the lane is up here? This doesn't feel like winning the lane to me, right? If the lane is always here, even if you're getting kills and zoning them, well, depending on the matchup, it's kind of okay, but I'm looking at these last hits, 10. You know, let's actually switch to net worth real quick. So because of the kills, we are at 3rd, but imagine, so let's give ourselves, like, let's see, mid lane's up there. Safe laners often are a little bit less just because there's, like, 2 heroes making things chaotic, pulls, things like that. Let's give you, like, 8 extra last hits, you know, like 2 more creep waves. That's 300 more gold, which means you are just about at the top. And with 300 gold, like, you to Centaur, this is really not a big difference, considering we killed him, right? So 300 more gold, now that's starting to mean something. That's an extra small item. In this case, you went for a Wraith ban. I don't know if I agree with that, just because this is mostly nuke damage from Centaur that's threatening you. Bounty is, like, some with Janata, but Shuriken Toss is also magic. So I think you just need to, like, flat health. You could get the Circlet and Slippers if you want, because they're just cheap stats. But I'd probably say this is a good Falcon Blade game for Drow, which, I mean, a Clarity here and there is kind of fine, but that could help you with your slow mana regen on your spells, and also tank you up from the Fluffy Hat. It's a good solid item for Drow in general, so I think that could help you. Maybe also get more kills. It's a good early game item if Ogre is buying, like, mangoes, things like that. We see how our Drow Ranger is getting run at. Okay, hold on. So first, you went back to get your courier. That's fine. Drow, you got to be careful of those moments. What is this, a blood grenade on the ground? Usually, they shouldn't be able to do this, but because you're out, they are. This goes back to what I was saying earlier. You are the Ogre. You need to be the body in the lane. Drow getting zoned here. Almost dies. But after you throw your Ignite, you know how you're, like, backing this way? You are the 800 health Ogre, 7 armor. You got to get in here. You got to distract him from Drow. They could have maybe dove her. If Centaur tanked the tower, it could have been attacked. Tactically done dive. What am I trying to say there? I don't know. But it was doable. I don't think they know how to do it at this bracket very well. But Centaur had plenty of health to go for it if you wanted to. So you have to get in there. Also, I realize he never took Shadow Walk, but that's wrong. So I do still think, like, oh, I bought the Sentry, like you said, Zach, but he didn't take Invis. You are correct versus good players, and you can play this against bad players. If you don't have the Sentry, you will be correct versus bad players, but wrong against good players. So really still recommend that. If we could keep this out of the tower just a little bit, that'd be good. Let's go back to last hits. Still quite low. Let's start speeding things up. I think we've already talked a good amount on the laning stage. I said I don't care how long this video ends up being, but, you know, there's still a limit to that, and we might even look at 2 games. So let's speed up. This is where I will now... I probably should have said this at the start. The key lesson before people left the video, whatever. The biggest part about winning the lane is knowing when to leave the lane. Because even if you win, continuing to sit together as 2 will just split resources, and that's not good in terms of getting your Drow more farmed exponentially compared to the other carries. We'll see if that comes up in a moment, but that is what I'm looking for, right? Because, like, if we are winning at this point, which if we gave you more last hits, we missed less, right? We would already be building up to, like, 1,000 gold difference off the kills and better last hitting. And that's like, okay, we can kind of leave Drow alone, put a sentry down here. She just like shoves a lane and then like jungles. Ogre could consider going through Twin Gate, stuff like that, which you did mention you and your brother try to do together. So we'll take a look for that. But again, I'm going to speed up a little bit here. Classic lane ward. This is crazy, guys. Archon Legend, I don't want to see any of you put Observer. You guys didn't. Fantastic. Bounty Hunter, okay, like if you're an Invis hero, you're supposed to have sentries here so that he cannot do this shit. You eventually got one to block the camp, you know, I guess is fine. But, like, you should have one for the lane, too. And then you'll punish people putting bad observers like this. Lotus. You could maybe go for the Wisdom Rune steal since nothing too much is happening. Looks like we're going to kill. Okay, so at this point, we can leave. This is a great time. So, a couple things that we see here on why we can now leave the lane. On Ogre, Drow's going to stay. So, 5 creeps, they will push in this lane. Actually, this one's coming up. It's a little close, actually. But Centaur is dead, so that's number 1. Let me start there. Centaur's dead, so we're not needed. Bounty Hunter's not going to kill Drow Ranger, especially if there's sentries somewhere here for her to see him. I see you have an observer. We're going to swap this in. Play it somewhere. Not here. Not anywhere you think Bounty's going to put a sentry. This cliff, too obvious. I like the spot you used earlier, somewhere up here, like really up in the edge in case there's like sentries around here. Or if you want to like find your way over here, drop it here. All of those are good. Possibly back here if you're worried about rotation from the Twin Gate, but at this bracket, it doesn't happen all that often, so I wouldn't bother. There's 5 creeps. Drow has the choice to either completely shove this in, and then all of these creeps will push under tower, and that will reset. Or if there's enough creeps here, and like depending on the wave timing, all of that, if there's enough of a creep wave here that it's going to push in naturally, that's another case the support's not needed. Well, Zach, should I come do a pull? This pull is 60 gold. And if you deny 2 creeps, that's like 60 gold you deny from the enemy. That's really good 1 minute into the game, 2 minutes into the game, 3 minutes into the game. At this point, does 60 gold feel like a lot? Not really. When people have 700 net worth, is 60 gold a lot? Yes. So there are games where you will still be here doing pulls, stuff like that. But what would be better is if you can leave the lane, come up here, and punish this Medusa to slow her down. Because by coming up here, you're going to draw attention here. And now you're going to have like a 3-on-3, but that's the supports and the offlaner splitting creep waves, and then the enemy carry splitting it with the supports who are coming up here trying to help her, compared to your carry who's going to be left alone free farming. And then it's like, oh, but their Centaur's free farming. One, he's the offlaner, but if you really are winning your lane, then it shouldn't be even, right? The Drow should be bullying him, and he should be getting less farm than the Drow, who will go through the cycle of just shoving in this lane and then like jungling, stuff like that, which is actually why you don't need to block this camp. Actually, did you? Yeah, you did. Okay. You don't need to block this camp again at this point if you're winning the lane, because this is your camp now. At the very start, 1 minute in, right? Yes, they could pull, mess up our equilibrium, which we did anyways for them, and we've been laning here the entire time, so this camp didn't matter. You didn't need to block it again. But now that you are winning, this is your camp. Drow shoves in the lane, farms this 100 gold, moves here, moves here. You're actually just blocking gold from yourself. If you truly are winning the lane and you block this camp, you're taking it from yourself. If you had it blocked from earlier, this is where I often actually just kill it, because it's time for Drow or my carry to start farming this. Depends on the exact heroes, but Drow can do it. Okay, so instead, observe. You are chilling. You're chilling. What are you doing here? Currently nothing. Centaur's now up. If we had left the lane immediately, in 20 seconds, you could have walked to the mid lane. So you'd be in a new area. If Drow really needs you, you could teleport home. But otherwise, you're in this lane getting XP. I guess there was some like mid Wraith King, mid Axe rotation somewhere. I don't know. I wasn't watching the mini map. Oops. But they were up here, so the mid lane's empty. So Ogre, you could be here, halfway on your way up to the top lane if you want to keep going there. And at any point, you could teleport home as needed. Instead, we watched Drow farm, which means, sure, I think Drow got those last hits. I wasn't watching. But she got 50% of that XP because you were here the entire time, which means, did we help her start to accelerate? Now, to a certain degree, it's okay to split XP with your carry, I would say up to like level 3 to level 4, it's pretty fine if you guys are the exact same level. As you go beyond that, you do want to slowly start pushing more to your carry, because for a lot of them, that is what enables them to be left alone safely. Like Juggernaut, Omnislash, he becomes much safer on his own. Lifestealer, Infest, Ursa, Enrage. For Drow, she has her ultimate, so she can jungle a lot faster. So maybe she can't bully people in the lane. She might, because she gets some extra damage in. But if you do have to back off because you're left alone, she jungles a lot faster with her ultimate. Your ult is like cool, but actually, I forgot. You have Learning Curve. You already have it. All the more reason to get out of here. Maybe that's what you were waiting for. Maybe you hit level 5 with some of those creeps. It looks like you overshot 5 by a good amount. So that was your logic. And if you guys are ever close to level 6, then sure, it's fine, because that's a big power spike for you. But in many of these situations, it's like you hitting level 4 to 5, something like that, and that's not that meaningful. So in the end, we just kind of sat around here. Maybe we'll go for another Centaur kill. But look, ultimately, this lane did push in. So you see how Drow, like, let's say she gets ganked by Bounty Centaur, and she's right here. Will she die? Potentially, especially because she doesn't have, like, more raw health items. But it's pretty close to the tower, so you could TP right on point as soon as... Like, you guys are brothers, you're in a call, I assume. It's like, help me, brother, I'm being killed. You know, and you'll come in and help him. So you really don't need to just be, like, sitting here watching him. Brothers need time apart. So get out of here, get up here, help like take this tower, help draw attention away from mid. It's empty. Creeps are just dying here. Look at this. Completely gone. Okay, they're not dying yet. They're about to. They're gone. Look. Look. Look at this shit. Where's your team? Where? Okay, mid-act is trying to do like the ult on Medusa shit. Whatever, right? Like, I'm not going to worry about the weird drafts, right? This stuff does happen. Looks like you guys do kill the Centaur and the Bounty, maybe. Is that what this is? A double kill? Or did Bounty die somewhere else? Okay, you do kill the Centaur, and then he comes back in. You had that sentry from earlier. You get a kill here. Fantastic. You see how some of that was off that marksmanship proc? Nice. Okay, you didn't leave earlier. Maybe you didn't identify it at that time. It's cool. Let's get out of here. She's 6. The lane, okay, finish shoving this in. Drow, shove this in. You don't need your ogre. You're going to farm this camp. Our camp's not there. All right, we're going to move on. We're going to farm this camp. We're going to farm back here. We're going to heal up. At some point, this lane's going to push back. You pop back in, farm it, repeat. This is what the carry's going to do. You're going to enter this cycle mode, and it's either shoving up to the enemy tower and farming this stuff, or if you're more defensive, it's like farming this stuff and then coming up here, clearing it under your tower, and then kind of going back. It's like one of those 2 cycles most games. So Ogre is not required for that. You can Bloodlust if you have it. You don't. Get out. Get out. You guys want to rotate together? You mentioned that. That could be a great time. Twin Gate through here. Get this tower. Ogre, are you doing it? Looks like you're doing it. Where's your... Oh, you ended up placing here? That's fine. And Drow's coming too. Okay. So I'm up for this. Get this, Medusa. This could have happened 2 minutes ago. Like, it wouldn't... Maybe the Drow doesn't come at that time, but you could have come in here. Let's go. Mess them up, boys. Hell yeah. All right, take this tower. Take this... Take. Okay, guys. Part of the reason you rotate as the carry is to get these kills. That was fantastic. But to take the tower. Drow is going to do the most damage to this tower. Stand right here. Bop, 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 bop. And then you actually have a choice. Because this tower is down, if your team wants to play somewhere else, Drow could do this cycle where she shoves the lane into wherever she feels comfortable. Ogre, place a ward for her, you know, maybe a deep ward. This cliff always gets spotted, so I wouldn't do that one. Like something in here, something like sneaky, either at the edges around here, the edges around here. This spot's pretty sneaky. This spot, we're getting like further and further from the top lane, but essentially, depending on your carry and how safe you feel, Drow not the safest for this, but they shove in this lane, and then they either farm through the top camps, farm back here, and if they're scared, then they push out the way from here and then go triangle. That would be more Drow's thing, because Drow can actually do Ancients really early with marksmanship. So Drow's thing could be up here, the wave comes in, broop, 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 okay, bye. Ancient camp, pop, 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 stack, pop, 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 boop, 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 boop. Like that's it. You'll see the carry just like like through here, and then sometimes like this camp, and that's all they stay. You just pick these different farming patterns over time. If you watch pros, you'll like see these different farming patterns, and this is where the Drow starts to accelerate a lot. So you guys are second on the net worth, pretty good. We won't worry about this Wraith King mid. Like I don't know, it'll happen, whatever. But this is where Drow should really start popping off. And also in terms of winning the lane, you are at the top, but like 4,400 gold at 10 minutes is actually just pretty it's pretty fine to good, I guess, but it's not like we crushed them, right? You could be like 5K if you like bumped up your last hits a little more. Or like you guys like identify this, like if you cycled through this camp twice, right? 200 more gold, things like that. But there should be the tower down, and then your team would have 1,000 gold more. You'd be like 2,000. Get back in here, Ogre. Okay, if Drow goes back, that's fine. Like if you don't think you can take the tower, sure. Drow goes home back to her safe lane. But Ogre, we want to leave. We want to leave this area as soon as we can, and we only come here if we have to. Look how tanky this guy is. He just stampedes away. You kind of force stampede, but look at this. Drow is splitting again with you. You guys are not that different in level. You guys are very similar, but Drow should have, I don't know, a level or two over you around this point in many situations. Your team does eventually take this tower, but you need to get out of here. So this game, it looks like, I don't know what I said in what order, but the part where the carry does not get to accelerate, you guys, get away from each other. Ogre has 2 heads. He can't help it, but you two, you're separate. Get away from each other. Get away. Ogre, you're here. You're with the Legion, Blink, Duel. This guy went brown boots, Blink, okay? They can't do anything but jump people to fight. So you need to be there, and you need to help them get kills, because these builds are ass. And it's the one thing they can do. Rubik needs to be there too. So you guys gotta like shove in whatever lane they're not in, and then be together. You gotta get the smokes ready for them. You gotta have observers placed down deep for them, so you guys can go like Blink, Duel, stuff like that. Sitting next to Drow is not the winning formula. Let's actually, I'm going to turn on Fog of War so we can see everything. And I want us to see how often Drow is being left alone versus Medusa. Because technically Medusa is behind you guys, but look, she's totally alone right now. Drow is here, which to some degree is fine. Drow has finished her Dragonlance. If you want to join a little bit, take early towers, that's okay. But then that has to go back to farming alone. So like, joining this fight is kind of all right. It's a little scary because we don't have our tier 1, but we try. It doesn't quite work out. Sometimes that happens. I don't hate joining this fight if you think it looks good, but well, I won't worry about it too much, right? You guys just have to try to make rotations sometimes. I can't believe I'm saying this because I usually would prefer a more active carry to not, but so far for all this game, Drow is constantly with teammates, and that's the issue. You know, if she had been left alone a little bit more by the Ogre, who leaves the lane a little sooner, maybe this rotation does work out, because Drow is level 10, and she has, like, a little bit more gold. This rotation itself is fine, but, like, off the back of, like, always being with the team is where we're starting to get a problem. Ogre, you got a Midas. I don't know, it's fine for pubs. I'd say this is a really, really, really good Solar Crest game. I would have just gone that, but I get it. If you get the Solar Crest afterwards, then sure. Look at this! Get away from each other. Get away! You were with the rest of the team. You could have left. Okay, you guys are all coming. So, this is what I mean. You guys are all coming here. It's like, oh, we're going to get the last tower, right? That's good. Yeah, it's kind of good. Again, it's next to your Drow. Drow's level 8. We're supposed to have been winning the lane and accelerating. She's level 8. She's about to split one creep wave, but actually, why am I paused? Let's see if you guys get kills. Maybe you will. Blink. All right, we get a kill. 263 gold. And then split some with the assist. One creep wave here, 4 heroes. So this is 25% efficiency in the lane. Wraith King is solo farming a lane. So he is 4 times more efficient than any of you. Medusa is farming in the jungle. At this point, she can jungle decently. So she is on her own. That creep wave that you guys just split is like 160 gold at this point. That's this camp, and then this camp is already more gold than that. So she's 4 times more efficient than you. So even though Medusa had a rough time, if we maintain this pace where Drow is always 25% efficiency compared to the enemy cores, how is Drow ever supposed to surpass them and come out ahead, right? You have to get kills, which in this case, you guys currently are getting kills, but what if you don't get those kills, right? Then you're definitely behind. Can we take this tower here? If they properly defend it, some games it's easier than others. Okay, if we dive, right, and now they get kills while being more efficient, and they TP in because it's their half of the map, we're behind the tower. Medusa probably should have come in here too. So we were less efficient. We didn't take a tower. We got a kill, gave a kill. So we are on the losing end. Look at that. 2 supports next to Drow again. Creeps all next to... like, 72 last hits, relatively good for your bracket. But in terms of XP, you have a fourth of that. Whereas Medusa, you know, some of hers was in the laning stage, so that's like split. But so much of Drow's actual farming is next to other heroes, which is unavoidable to some degree, but there needs to be solo time. And 15 minutes into the game and the fact that you're never alone is incorrect. It is wrong. Medusa, she's surpassing you. She's getting close, even though she had a rough start. This is what you want, right? She was solo farming, and then she TP'd in as needed. Maybe a little late, because this tower's freaking dead, Medusa. Coming a little bit sooner. But looks like this fight's fine for them. So full farm efficiency, joins for a kill, could go back for farming, or off this winning fight, could take a tower. Is it a winning fight? Yeah, it looks like a winning fight. I think we can probably move on from here soon. What are... I see. So notice this graph. At 10 minutes, you are near the top. It's not bad. But notice you never really shoot past the other cores. Like, okay, still second, 500 over Medusa. It doesn't feel like Drow is going to pop off and take over the game. It feels like Wraith King is going to do that, right? Wraith King, who is spending time solo and then joining and then solo and joining, he's the one who looks like he should be primed to take over the game. And as we go, it never feels like Drow takes a huge lead. This will just happen in some games, right? Just depending how the game goes. But, I mean, this is a sample size of one, but over the course of you guys playing a lot together, that's what I want to see. I want to see a graph where Drow is near the top, like 4,000 to 5,000, and then boom, it's like, I don't know. Oh, actually, the exact number doesn't matter, although it'd be great to be like 12,000, something like that, right? The difference between you and the other cores is the bigger deal. So like, oh, I have 5,000 gold, but my offlaner, the enemy offlaner also has 5,000. The enemy carry also has 5,000, right? Like, that doesn't matter that much. You want a big gold difference. In this case, you to Centaur is pretty good, but then like as we go further, it's like me to Medusa is really not that. Holy shit, that's a farmed warlock. But you to Medusa is really not that different. So I don't feel like Drow is popping off, taking over, and it's really just because you're not splitting away from each other. I lied. One more clip of this real quick, just to like really hammer in the point of like the time alone. Drow is finally alone because her teammates are freaking dead. Finally alone. Look at this. The whole creep wave is Drow's. All this straight to Drow. Really nice. One more creep wave would be great. And while you're alone farming, guys, carries, this is kind of a side topic, but we're not useless farming, just AFK jungle. This is shoving in the mid lane. It's going to force a rotation from the enemy team at some point. That's really good. It was a little scary to do it for quite a while after they took bottom. They could have been rushing over, but whatever. And then you... whatever, right? In the triangle, Drow alone. Get out of here, guys. It's fine. They're walking through. This is better. This can happen at level 6. Just to put that time difference in here. Drows at level 6 often come here very soon because the ancient camps are... One ancient camp is worth a creep wave, right? The fact that she can do it at level 6 ends up being more efficient. Rather than waiting like every 30 seconds for a creep wave to get here, you see a lot of Drows hit 6, maybe pick up a certain item or two to help speed this up. I'm not a Drow player. I don't know the exact timing. Go watch some Drow replays. You'll notice this. If you can stay in the lane, sure, and you jungle this stuff, it's a little more common. But if the lane does get pressured, like even if you're losing the lane, it's fine if you lose the lane. You come over here, you farm this stuff. And the fact that she is alone as opposed to maybe needing 1 or 2 heroes with her, depending how much the enemy is pressuring this lane, you leave it for the others. Like the supports and the offlaner defend this tower for you, and you're here solo. This is really good. This is Drow, like, speeding up her own farm, but it could have happened, like, 8 minutes ago or something, which is a totally different game, right? The fact that Drow would be speeding up a lot sooner, like, this is fine, right? You solo farm, it's like, oh, we want to smoke, let's go. Why are you leading? The Blink Initiators go in the front. You run to the wrong hero. You stand further back. Stand further back. Separate topic, but this is fine, right? Join, get a kill, pressure this tower. This is good. Take the tower, right? Take the tower? Yeah. Wait, guys. Make the plays. Ideally take the tower. If your team's back off, then whatever. That's pub life. We won't sweat it too hard. But now we go back to the solo farm. Drow's a weird one because you don't have long cooldowns, which is why she is this like smooth slope of constantly being able to join stuff. You can farm, fight, whatever. It's really up to you to figure it out. If you play a different hero like Luna, who has Eclipse, very easy on-off switch for you. Get Luna to level 6. If Luna has ult, go make a play together, guys. Pop Eclipse, get a kill. Don't bother Luna until Eclipse is back up. Let her just farm efficiently wherever she wants as best she can. Eclipse is back up. All right, Luna, freaking get in here. Like, we want to push this tower, show up, right? That's a very rough game plan. Depends, right? But if you play one of those heroes, much easier. I see your Grandmaster or Master, whatever, Drow. So this is something you want to think about a lot. If you like this hero, it is a big skill to know when to join or not, since you don't have a clear indicator like, I have my ultimate, I don't, right? You just have to know this fight is worth me joining, that one is not. I don't need to join that, I need a certain item timing first. Game number 2, we can actually do this one pretty quickly, because I can already tell from this graph, this is not a win lane, lose game. This is like, we laned. We didn't win, we didn't lose, we laned. We're looking at the Gyrocopter and the Warlock here. You guys are relatively rich, and he told me you got tri-lane, so the fact that it's kind of even is good, actually. But I get this kind of stuff a lot, where people tell me, I crush my lane, and then it goes wrong, and I look at this, I'm like, you guys are about the same. This isn't crushing the lane. It means your read of the game is wrong. Like, in the game, you feel like you're doing better, but then you're not. Now, over time, you develop that. But that's why I always check this graph at the end, and I think about it like, how did I feel that lane went? I think we got crushed. And I look at it and I'm like, oh yeah, we got crushed. Or I think like, we smacked him around, and I look and I'm like, oh, actually the carry is poorer than I thought. So something happened, something's wrong. That's what we're about to go dive into, but I recommend you guys pick up that habit as well. And even if it's not me, you guys are trying to do it for yourself, go through the replay and look through it and like, did we miss a lot of last hits? Did they do a pull we didn't notice? Like, why aren't we as rich as we thought if we think we're winning the lane? All right, you guys got first blood, TP to lane. That is a good start. So they're tri-lane. They're doing some Terrorblade, Enigma, Rubik lane. Very weird. This is kind of fine. So usually the combo would be Fatal Bonds plus Flak. I actually think you should hold off on that, because in a tri-lane, it's actually just the same as the last lane. Like, if you push out, it's bad. It's really bad in a tri-lane because you're in a really bad spot. In a tri-lane, it's very important to stay right here. So using Fatal Bonds will instantly shove the lane. That's not good. You want to make sure you buy a couple sentries on Warlock, because you need this pull camp versus a tri-lane. I know tri-lanes are uncommon, so you guys probably don't know all this information. So I am just sharing here. I'm not expecting you to know it, but this is how you would adapt to a tri-lane. And maybe they're not going to tri-lane for long. Maybe they'll split, but it sounds like they did not do that. And this kind of happens in party games sometimes, where you will run into this like wackier stuff more. And it's like even more important for you to know how to address it, since you're also a party queue. Looks like you are going to get a kill. Close, maybe not. So far so good. They're absolutely screwed up this tri-lane. This is why you don't see it very often. Most people don't know how to pull off a tri-lane. Spectre should be getting bopped by a Lich and a Timber, though. So, like, this goes back to adjusting your mindset for the lane. We're tri-laned. We just get through this. And this is a game where I wouldn't expect you to have a massive gold lead over the opponents unless they mess up like they currently are. We are just getting what we can, because Spectre should be getting destroyed. And we have way better flash farming on a Gyrocopter to catch up than a Spectre does. So we get through it, we get what levels we can to level up Flat Cannon, and then we're just going to go jungle to reach our eventual timing. And like the difference with Gyrocopter versus Drow, Gyrocopter is like, I hit this critical mass, and then I win the game. And I need to reach that level of farm. So Gyrocopter, you do have the ultimate. So you would kind of show up, ult, leave. You guys have a very strong late game combo in Gyro Warlock, so I don't need to see as much early activity from you guys. You can go later. I mean, they also have like a really late game power spikes here, so some respect there, but you guys can just do what you can and try to reach that critical mass on Gyro. You're losing last hits. You're chasing. Don't do this. This is a tri-lane. They're messing it up, but you just chase level 1 versus 2 level 1 heroes, right? They should just turn around and hit you. I don't know what they're doing. You should not be able to do this. So this is to me, you guys are not prioritizing last hits, which is part of what we saw last game, right? Like, you were getting kills, but not last hits. And so because you got enough kills, you were winning. But I think you need to, like, on the carry side, you need to sit down and like really focus on last hits and like at least go through it for a phase. And then support, you need to help enable that and also leave him alone. I mean, let's see how the rest of this goes. But I would expect more focus on just last hitting as opposed to like chasing these level 1 kills in a tri lane. And this is why getting so everything I was just saying, right? This is why pub games are chaos and we got to know how to deal with it. They have screwed their tri lane. You guys just got a triple kill. So this is really good. And this is why you can still end up winning your lane in a 2v3, or you're the weak lane versus strong lane. You beat them because people make so many mistakes. So it's very doable, but the end translation is you do need to be at the top of net worth. And if you're not, it means we're slipping up somewhere. So we're getting kills. We're not being killed. This pull actually wasn't necessary. So maybe that's something for support player here to work on. Creep equilibrium identification, something for 2 of you. You shove this into the tower. This resets the lane depending how many creeps you push up. If you do the full pull, you're going to have potentially some danger if you don't kill it fast enough. So full pull, you need to kill this camp instantly. Like as quickly as possible, both of you kill this camp because we want the equilibrium here. So by the time this camp, or actually it should be here, by the time these creeps die and then the time it takes for these creeps to walk down, we need this camp dead and these creeps to walk over here. The distance the creeps need to walk is about the same, like maybe a second longer for these guys. So you can use that as your judgment, like in the time it takes these 2 range creeps to die, these 3 creeps need to die. That's a tall order because these creeps are about to die in 1 more second. So we need to kill this entire camp in 1 second to get equilibrium we want. You shouldn't do a pull, or you should do a half pull. One of those, either of those situations would be good. If you don't do a pull, this creep equilibrium probably meets around here, which is not that bad, right? Much better than up here. This equilibrium is going to be okay, and then it's going to shove out again. Now, in a tri lane, actually, that's not that bad. You will see this occasionally where you make the lane bounce back and forth because a tri lane, especially some would say with an Enigma who has Eidolons, should actually just hold the equilibrium here forever, permanently. And then the 2 heroes zone the other 2 heroes, and you can never approach. They block every single camp. You can't do anything. That is how a proper tri lane should have looked here. So actually, if you can make the lane bounce back and forth, that's a step up from that. But in pubs where people don't know how to tri lane, then you actually can just aim to keep the lane like right here the whole time, which now this lane's shoving out again. So it's kind of repeat. Now we do commit to the shove to try to get it to, again, reset and then hold it here properly. Just jumping ahead, I want to highlight, so I know you guys have kills, and that's why you feel like you're winning, right? 411, 104. But look at your net worths. The fact that Warlock is so rich is the part that's winning the lane, but there's no reason Gyrocopter isn't approaching 3,000 gold right now. It's 5 minutes into the game and you have 14 last hits, which you can do in 2 creep waves. If you got every single creep last hit, I know that's like easier said than done, but just to put that frame of reference in, at 2 minutes, you could have this amount of last hits. So it is now 3 minutes beyond that. We're less than 50% efficiency on the last hitting. And I know we could say tri lanes are tough and you are probably put through a loop dealing with this, so I get it. But we also see their tri lane is absolute garbage. So once you don't panic, like, oh, we're being tri lane, like, and you get thrown off, you approach it calmly. It's like, I'm just going to last hit like usual. And you last hit well. Like, you could easily, okay, I won't say you double that because that's like perfect last hitting. Which, you know, sometimes possible. They're giving you free Eidolons or like camp pulls, right? Sometimes the last hits can be that high, but like I would say you should be around 20 to 25 at least at 5 minutes, and you're like well below that. So I just want to show you that you guys don't have enough emphasis on just farming. You guys are thinking too much about fighting, as I think your metric on whether you're winning or not is kills more than actual gold. And if you are getting kills and farm, that's good. But I think you guys are just looking at the kill score right now, or you're putting too much emphasis on it and not realizing how many last hits it's costing you. So I'm going to show you that right here, which this should have been especially emphasized considering it's a tri lane. So the fact that you guys are still looking to fight into that tri lane, I think you guys are winning the tri lane, but it's still the wrong emphasis. Like if you think back to what I was saying earlier, it's like, oh, you have 4 heroes here, that's less efficient than this, right? If you guys farm the same creeps that these guys are farming, you guys are splitting it 2 ways, so it's 50% for both of you. These guys are splitting it 3 ways. It's 33% for each. If it's equal farm, that's really bad for a tri lane. A tri lane needs to be denying the enemies a lot and getting kills to make the tri lane work, which is why I'm saying like this tri lane's a disaster. You guys aren't seeing that, and you guys are still trying to get kills here, when really all you need to do is farm as much as you possibly can versus a tri-lane. And against a better tri-lane, that's absolutely the only option you have. The only reason you can go for fights here is because they are messing up their tri-lane. If you play against someone who tri-lanes better, you guys will absolutely get bodied trying to play this way. Right here, look, you guys are chasing for a Rubik kill. Why are you doing this? Farm this camp. Someone pull this camp. Potentially, we'll have to see what the equilibrium looks like at that time, but this could be a pull, could be a half pull. Gyro should be making his way here, just farming these camps. This is all the space you are giving up for this Rubik kill, which you guys are putting emphasis on. This Rubik kill is worth maybe 300 gold for the two of you, and it's putting you in a danger spot. There's no guarantee you get the Rubik kill. Let's say you get the Rubik kill, but then one of you gets killed, if not both of you. It's really not going to pay off. The much more guaranteed route, this is 100 gold, this is 60 gold, this is 80 gold, this is 60 gold. This is all the same as the Rubik. It's extremely guaranteed. Like, they're over here dealing with a creep wave. They're not contesting you on these camps. It's not putting you at risk of a mid-rotation of the four of them just starting to chase you. This is Gyrocopter farming through these camps. Warlock potentially helping, depending on like what levels you are and what heroes you are. Like maybe the support's helping, maybe the support is warding, pulling, or it's the time for the support to leave. This is the Gyrocopter now left alone, 1v3, perfect efficiency on his own. Everything is going to the Gyrocopter, 100% efficiency, 33%. You bring the Warlock to the top lane, kill the Spectre, 0% because she's dead. 3 of you take the tower. It's a massive win. Oh, well, Zach, they're going to pressure the Gyrocopter, and you're going to see it. You're going to see these creeps die. You're going to see them start to move down. And if you haven't made anything happen at that point, you're going to decide, like, I'm just going to twin gate back, or I'm going to TP at some point as needed. Okay, so maybe we need a new TP, because I think you TP'd into this lane. But here is just not focusing on last. Like, you're trying to contest them under the tower. I don't give a shit about that. Go farm. Now we're too late, right? Now we're going to try. They're done with that creep wave. Now they can fight you. Just leave sooner. Go farm it. Blast his wave out. Blast it. 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 Blast this creep wave out. Destroy it. See how long that took? Because we didn't just like blow the spells out. This is the scariest part of a tri-lane, is like being in the lane. At this point, shove it out. Shove this wave out. Jungle. Super safe. Super safe. Lot of farm here. It's going to accelerate. If you did this one rotation through, you would increase your last hits by like 25%. Equilibrium does not matter as much once you can start farming the jungle as a carry. You got to start. Oh, we're chasing this Enigma. We should get this kill. 350 gold. Let's see when you started that chase. 746. I'm going to start hitting the Enigma. Ah, rip. Lost our courier. Chasing. So in this time, it's been about 15 seconds since Gyrocopter came from about here. Gyrocopter could walk down here and farm both these camps, or maybe stack both of them. You got flat cannon, so stack them, stack one of them, farm both of them all in one flat cannon, move on over here, very safe. This time we're chasing an Enigma who is just not receiving any help from his team. Moving all the way over here. Got the kill. Not, 25-second commitment for that. It works. But what if they brought heroes to you? Like, were you guys fully paying attention to that? Do you know if Spectre's level 6 or not? Is she about to join this? Did they bring anyone else in? We actually did see the minimap, so actually if you go back, they weren't doing that. So in this case, it is kind of fine. Other times you won't see this, and I suspect you guys will still chase in. So now you kind of have to farm this camp in a dangerous spot if you want to be efficient. You got to like farm this on the way back. Maybe Terrorblade's already shoved in the lane. Like once he sees you guys chasing Enigma, he should be shoving in the lane to make you guys miss last hits, and then it won't be really worth it. This is 160 gold-ish, right? That's half the Enigma kill. So if you like farm this jungle stuff and then you were here to meet the wave, you've got more gold. So let's see how much we end up missing out. He's denying stuff from you, right? We just lost a good chunk of gold. Are we going to make it here? Bop, 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 bop. Gone. So you do get here. You lost a full creep wave for it. So we gain 300 gold as a team. Minus 160 from the creep wave we missed. 160 gain in gold. Don't chase that Enigma kill. Let him live. Farm all these camps. Same as the Enigma kill. Don't miss a creep wave. Now we're plus 300 as opposed to like plus 160. You just constantly make these kind of choices, and that is how every 30 seconds, every minute, you make the right choice, which I know is the hard part of playing Dota. But every time you do make these choices, we are bumping up, right? We're now 3,500. Make that choice again, 3,800. Bumping it up every single time. That is how you actually win the lane, and then you leave him alone, and he like really jumps up, and that's how you then... You don't always win the game, but you do accelerate your carry to set yourself up to win the game, and then, you know, maybe that's another video we talk about from there. Final point I want to make, I zoomed ahead. 13 minutes is the start of when Gyrocopter is left alone to really start farming, and there's always going to be some interaction with other heroes, but prior to this, you're always near the Warlock, always near some other heroes, and that is something you guys need to start identifying. In my own best lanes, and I know there's so much variability, but I would say I leave the safe lane as early as 6 minutes, like when I really win the lane. I don't expect that in Archon Legend just because the laning stage does go longer and people will not be as active. But since I know you guys were playing to climb, you know, you want to keep going up, that is some of this difference. I'm setting up my carry and leaving him alone to accelerate in that 6 to 8 minute range. And at least in these two games, it seems to be for you guys, like that 13 plus minute range. That's no good, right? We got to start cutting that down. So for you guys, I would say a really good place to aim for now, because you do have to play to the rank a little bit, right? Like they continue to lane, kind of need to like match that a little bit, but somewhere between the 8 to 10 minute mark, whoever you are playing on support, you should really consider like, what else can I do that is not next to the Gyrocopter or like the carry? And the carry player, like whatever you happen to be playing, identify what are the things I need to feel comfortable being left alone. Is it certain ultimates that give me kill threat so they won't bother me? Is it flash farming so that when I'm scared, I can just fall back to the jungle? Is it a certain item that lets me jungle? Like I need a Mask of Madness so I can stay healthy while I jungle. Figure it out for what carries you play, and you guys need to work together to figure out, I have it, right? Like we won the lane, we didn't win the lane, but I have the tools now to be left alone. We need to try to leave me alone, and I just need to farm as best I can in this time, and I'll look for fights to join, but I'm not trying to join every single fight. I'm trying to farm and really accelerate. And the support player, you go make that space happen. You don't take up the space of Gyrocopter or your carry. You are drawing attention away, and you are filling the space of the enemy carry so that the enemy carry is the one with 3 to 4 heroes in their lane, and they are splitting all the farm. And then you get to like 20 minutes of the game, and there are 5,000 behind your carry. That is what we want. That's how you go from a winning lane to a winning game. We'll talk about the later steps in future videos. All right, thanks for watching. I know it's a bit long, but Dota is a really complicated game. I do feel that these longer format videos, and we're going to keep doing them, and I'm sure you guys are going to keep watching every single one, like, comment, and subscribe, whatever. But it really is one of the only ways to build up a very deep knowledge of a game as complicated as Dota. So we're going to do more of these. If you want to be in one of them in the future, leave a comment, match ID, who you're playing, all that jazz. Actually, it doesn't really matter to me who I end up replaying. So if you don't tell me who you're playing, I'm just going to talk about someone in that video. Maybe you're in it, maybe you're not. But there's always something to learn and identify in a game as complicated as Dota, and that's what these will be aimed for. So thank you for watching. See you in the next one.